Welcome back to Delicious and Nutritious. It has been quite a long time, but I'm excited to bring to you one of my favorite, easiest, I'm telling you, the easiest pizza recipe that you're ever gonna have in your entire life. There's no creating the dough, there's no nothing. We have everything contained in one spot for you guys. So let's jump into this. This is gonna be my gluten-free, delicious, you don't even have to use cheese, there's no dairy, you don't need the dairy in there, you're not even gonna need actual wheat or anything like that. I'm gonna tell you right up front, it is not exactly like you would anticipate some pizza to be. But with that said, let's jump into the ingredients that we do need up front. So number one, we are gonna need the biggest, most important ingredient that we do have. This is going to be Namaste Pizza Crust Mix. I will put it in the comments. This is going to be the entire crust recipe right here. And then all you do need is water as well as a little bit of coconut oil. Always using the coconut oil. I absolutely love the coconut oil. Refined for cooking, unrefined for non-cooking, okay? So that's basically gonna be the crust, all handled in that. We are gonna need a mixing bowl for the crust. We are also going to need a 1 cup measuring spoon. You can also have a 1/2 cup and a 1/4 cup if you don't feel like eyeing it. We are gonna need a knife and a spoon to mix, knife to cut, and then we have our trusty pizza stone. So the pizza stone is very important for this recipe. I do not suggest that you guys do it on anything else besides the pizza stone because it heats the pizza so evenly. Obviously you can see from this pizza stone, I've used this quite a bit. It is a lifesaver. It does everything that we need. And then you need your toppings. Toppings are gonna be important as well as the sauce. So I suggest you guys use pizza sauce, but just for the at-home users, if you don't wanna go out of your way and you just have some pasta, I am gonna use some great, delicious pasta sauce. The only difference here is you're gonna have to be cautious on using pasta sauce in a little bit less quantity because it is going to be watery. The pizza sauce is going to be the most important thing that you do get if you have the ability to get it. But like I said, we're gonna make it kind of like at home here. Then, if you wanna use cheese and your body handles dairy, organic grass-fed dairy is perfectly fine in here. But if it is not, what I suggest you guys use is something like the Violife. This one's gonna be the cheddar cheese shreds, right? So this is gonna be this. For that, you can use other shreds if you want. We're gonna put a little bit on half of this so you guys can see it going down. And then we're gonna go with our toppings. So for our toppings, I like meat preferably. So I have these organic uncured Genoa salami. You can also put organic pepperoni on that. And then we're gonna go after our vegetables as well. So for me, I have 1/2 of a red pepper. I have a green pepper, always organic. You know, we always use organic here. I have an onion. This is gonna be a sweet onion. And then I have some mushrooms that is already partially used, right? So I'm just kind of using the ad hoc in my kitchen to be able to go after this. And then the other thing that I really like on pizza is going to be pepperoncini peppers. I love pepperoncinis. Whole Foods actually makes them organic, which is very hard for us to find. And then we have a couple other things. I'm gonna say sea salt. It's very important for you. So we have our pink and our gray sea salt in one grinder right here. Really important. We'll show you that in a second, especially if you're not gonna use cheese. And then we are gonna have the garlic. We are gonna have the crushed red pepper. And then we're gonna have the oregano as well, all organic. Very important to get spices, or everything organic to avoid pesticides, but spices are also radiated by radiation if you do not get organic. And then we have the cashew butter. Like I said, you could use regular butter if your body is okay with dairy. Grass-fed organic, really important, but if not, guys, just go after the Miyokos, great quality there. And then obviously we need the cutting board, and we're gonna start right now. Hope you guys are ready. Okay, so starting off, we're gonna start off with the crust. But before you do so, main thing you're gonna do is you're gonna preheat the oven to 450 degrees. Very easy to do so. The instructions on making the pizza is gonna be on the back right here. I've went ahead and opened this package. It's gonna come with 2 pizza crust mixes in each bag, which is really cool. So for this, we're going with 1.5 cups of the mix, 1.25 cups of our water. Prefer that you're using filtered water so that you're not getting any fluoride, chemicals, and everything like that. And then we need the coconut oil, right? This one just says a teaspoon of oil, but I prefer the coconut oil, and I really actually don't measure. And then for this, you can put butter on the pizza stone, or you can put coconut oil, whatever you prefer. But if you do not have a pizza stone and you wanna make this, what I suggest doing is using parchment paper from the company We Care, and then you can put it onto a baking sheet. That's how I would do it. Do not do it in a pan. Pans heat up more than the oven, and then it starts to bake the pizza crust onto the pan, and it's a disaster to get off. So if you don't have this opportunity, then go with that one. Okay, so starting off, we are going with 1.5 cups. I'm not really too precise on this, to be honest with you guys. I am generally rough with these measurements. It comes out pretty consistent every time, unless you really overdo it with the water. That's really the only thing that can hold it back. This is a little bit over a half, but it's totally fine. All right, so we have all the flour in there. And then we need 1/4 cup of water. So we're just gonna go ahead and use the same thing, and we are going to eye this. I'm using room temperature water. So if you are using coconut oil, which I suggest that you guys do here, is important that you do liquefy the coconut oil. If it is warmer in your house, it can liquefy by itself, like this one right here, but generally speaking, it's gonna be hard at room temperature. What you could do is you could heat it up in a saucepan or anything like that, and then let it cool off before you dump it in here. You don't want the coconut oil doing any type of burning. So then we are going with a teaspoon of oil here, which I am just gonna eye this. All right, teaspoon of oil. And then we have the mixer. So we're just using a spoon. What you guys can use is also a fork, or if you have a mixing whisk, I'm sure that would be the best option, but I don't have one. And you know, I wanna make sure that you guys can make this by yourself at your house. So we are gonna go ahead and mix this up, and I will show you what it looks like in a second. Okay, and generally speaking, that is gonna be what it looks like. It's a little bit runny here. I'm gonna put a little bit more of the pizza crust mix in here. Maybe we did a little bit too much of the water, and I'm gonna go ahead and balance it out just so it's a little bit less runny, but you can also let it sit for a moment to kind of let the flours congeal with the water and kind of thicken it up. All right, and we have our batter all done here. And I wanna make sure that you guys do know one thing is the reason why we are going in this specific order, as we're cleaning off a little bit of powder here, is because this is going to cook once in the oven before the ingredients, and then we're gonna bring it back, and then we're gonna put the ingredients on, then we're gonna put it back in the oven. So it's 2 stages in the oven, as it does stay on the back of the box. So we wanted to do this first. So we are going to use the cashew butter from Miyoko's. Is gonna be the first thing that we're gonna put here. I'm a little reckless with my butter, so I kind of just like open it up. Gonna go ahead and put it on there. You can also use refined coconut oil, just as great. But this cashew butter is gonna serve 2 purposes today. All right, so there we go, got the cashew butter done. And you are gonna wanna make sure that you have the oil or the butter all over the pan. We do not want any of the pan exposed because we do not want this pizza crust to stick. Okay, and now it's time to put all the pizza crust on to this. So we basically just scrape all the sides as much as possible. And so this one is obviously in a rectangle format. So I am going to work on getting this down in a rectangular format so it's easier to spread. The more shape to what your pizza stone is, the better. And we are gonna go ahead and spread this out relatively thin, and then I'm gonna put a little bit of a lip on here for the crust, because everybody loves crust. And as you can tell when you guys make this, if you guys do make this, I hope you do, and you hope you get the ingredients in the comments below pinned, that you guys enjoy this, because I think the crust is absolutely delicious, obviously inspired by the channel. And yeah, it's really good quality. Really easy to make, kind of hard to mess this up. I think the only thing that really messes this up is if you either miss out on a tip, you go with a different medium of cooking besides the pizza stone, or yeah, maybe a mishap, maybe the oven mishap, but it's pretty easy, really easy. There's no flour measurements, and even if you overshoot or undershoot the flour and water combination of the pizza crust, the cooking will be able to make up for that. So we're gonna go ahead and perfect this crust, putting a little bit of a lip right there all around the pizza. And you want to try to balance this out as well. The more balanced this can be, the better. And there we have our pizza. It is now time to go into the oven. It says 20 minutes on the back of the box. I suggest you guys go in for about 21 minutes if you're cooking it like this. But what you can do is set the 20-minute timer, and then you can check. And now, after we put it in the oven, it is now time to cut all of our ingredients. So what I suggest doing is slicing most of everything. So for our onion, we are going to cut it like this, relatively easy. I like the thinner slices on the onions, depending on how you like your onions on your pizza, or maybe you don't like onions on your pizza, you can do it like that. So that is gonna be the onion right there, some slices of onion, and then if it is different, we can go ahead and cut that in half. So we have slices of onion, which is gonna be number 1. As far as our mushrooms go, I don't really like big mushrooms on mine, so what I usually do is I quarter these mushrooms, so I have like little mushroom chunks. Really like mushrooms on pizza. One of my favorite foods. So we have quarters, they're about maybe a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch cubes. If you do have full mushrooms, what you can do is you can slice those very thinly, and that works really good on pizza as well. And so I'm not gonna cut everything with you guys, I'm just gonna show you how I would do it here if I have what I have in front of me. And then on to the peppers, okay? So the peppers I also like to slice. So make sure to have a serrated knife, really important, makes this process a whole lot easier. So I cut like so. And I don't leave them big like this. Then I cut them into thirds. So then I have pieces that are about this, about 1 inch by maybe 1/4 of an inch. And then I cut the rest. And I'm going to be using 2 combinations. I'm going to be using red peppers and I'm going to be using green peppers. And so if you are cutting it from a full pepper, what I usually do is I cut this straight into half, and then you can grab by the seeds and you can kind of fold it out right there just like that. Get a nice clean takeaway. You don't really take too much of the pepper out. Just go ahead and extract that. So then it's literally just the top and the seeds, and then you can go and clean the seeds out. And then I go ahead and put it underside, and then I'm gonna slice it again. So this one is not quite as big as the red peppers, so I'm just putting some slices in there, just like this. Another thing I really like to put on my pizza is garlic as well. So if you do that, you can chop up the garlic. If you're gonna put spinach or anything like that on your pizza, what I suggest doing is put it in the oven for, on the next round, we're gonna be a total of 17-ish minutes. So I would say put it in for about 10 and then put it on for the last like 5 minutes so that you don't burn the leaves, or you can really honestly put it on fresh as well. And we have all pretty much of our ingredients done. We're gonna cut the rest of these. And then finally we have the pepperoncini. Okay, we have our pizza done out of the oven, and for me, when I'm looking at this crust, what I kind of go for is that I can move the pizza freely off. There's nothing that's looking a little bit damp, and then the crust is slightly golden in certain areas. All right, so it obviously did shrink just a little bit. All of our stuff is cut and ready to go. First thing we have to do is put the pizza sauce on. Okay, so we're gonna use the tomato sauce, but like I said, tomato sauce is definitely a little bit more liquidy than we would typically go for. So what we want to do is try, and what you could do also is, if you have a strainer, is you could strain this out. So I'm gonna gently spread this around. Since the pizza crust is a little bit thinner, we do not wanna put too many things with liquid on it, including vegetables. We wanna make sure that we spread this pizza sauce around enough so that the pizza doesn't become soggy at the end. Because remember, this is not a gluten crust, this is gluten-free, so it does handle a little bit differently. Okay, and this one is Gino Angelini. It smells very good. Arrabbiata is what it's called. And this one does not have cane sugar in it. That's always something that I look to stay away from when I am picking out my pasta sauce. Especially, I just don't really particularly care for the cane sugar. Like, there's no need for it, I don't think. So this one smells amazing, and we have it spread around on our pizza just like that. Nothing overly done. You can go a little bit more heavy on the pizza sauce, but if you are using the pasta sauce, you have to definitely be a little bit cautious there. All right, so it smells great. Another thing that you can do is if you have a lot of pizza sauce and you want a little bit more, I would suggest putting down your meat first so it can kind of protect the crust layer. So next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna bust open our organic Genoa salami, and we're gonna put it down, but before we put our vegetables down, so it can create that barrier to make sure that the crust does not get soggy. All right, and our salami. I love salami. I love pepperoni on my pizza. So I am going to be relatively generous here. Obviously, like I always talk to you guys about, organic meat is great. If you can get grass-fed meat, that is the best. However, the pork is typically not grass-fed. They don't feed it. So we're looking for pork that is not fed antibiotics, that is free of pesticides on any of the food that it eats, and that is gonna be why we go after the organic. Okay, so now we have the base done, looking pretty good. So the next thing that we're gonna do is I'm gonna put down my mushrooms. Mushrooms cook the fastest out of everything that we are gonna be putting on the pizza. So the nice chunks of mushrooms, I try to even out everything here. And I like a lot of vegetables on my pizza, as you guys can see. The next thing that's gonna cook the fastest is going to be the onions. So we are going to sprinkle our onions on top of the pizza here. Okay, that's great. And then next, we are gonna go after our peppers. So peppers are gonna take the longest to cook. So they will go on top with the most direct heat that we are gonna get. And then finally, we're gonna put the pepperoncinis and we're gonna sprinkle them all over the top of the pizza. Absolutely love this. Love pepperoncinis on my pizza. That is gonna be one fine looking veggie pizza. Look at the colors on there. All of the phytonutrients that you can get, quite not all of them, but we have white-ish from the mushrooms. We have green coming from the green peppers. We have white coming from the onions. We also have red, and then we have a little bit of yellow coming from the pepper. So there's a lot of phytonutrients in here. And then we also have the red from the tomato sauce that has garlic in there. That can be considered clear, or it can be also considered tan as well. So that's gonna be my pizza. And now, if you guys are using the cheese or whatever you're using, it would be the time to put it on. And just remember, if you are using dairy cheese, please shoot for the cheese that is going to be organic and it's going to be pasture-raised, grass-fed. You're looking for the grass-fed cheese from cows that eat grass. That is going to keep it as anti-inflammatory. When you do use cheese that is just standard, it is definitely going to be inflammatory for your body, and it's going to hit all those things that we would see if we're looking at mainstream media and why dairy and meat may be bad for you. But if it is fed the proper diet without the chemicals and without the inflammatory feed that they are giving it, this is going to be great for your health if your body can handle it, because sometimes bodies just can't handle breaking down the dairy. So I have half with the cheese. I'm not going too heavy on it. Half with the non-cheese. After we take it out, we will look at it. But now I'm going to put it back in for 16 minutes or 17 minutes, depending on where you're at. But do it for 15 as the package instructs, and then add on time as it goes. You don't want the crust to be too burnt at the end. All right, gonna put it back in. We have ourselves pizza. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a pizza right in front of me. Look at that. Man, that is fantastic. I am so incredibly excited about this. So what we need now is a knife, or if you have a pizza roller, that would be ideal here. I do not have one. So we're gonna ad hoc with a knife here. Okay, so what we're gonna do is one of two things before we cut it. Remember I told you we were gonna multi-purpose this cashew butter or regular butter. And what I'm gonna do, I do this with regular butter too, is I open it, I take this and I drag it all the way around the crust, and I get the crust a little bit buttery. I think it's a fantastic addition right there. And then if you wanna take this to a next level, remember I had 3 spices in the beginning, okay? So this is a little bit New York-esque of us. We have the crushed red pepper, we have the oregano. You see it at a lot of restaurants. It's fantastic on pizza. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Then we also have ourselves garlic, and we have salt. So if you didn't use cheese, what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna sprinkle a little bit of sea salt on top. It's gonna cover up for the lack of salt in the cheese, because the cheese, what it does is it gives us this salty goodness flavor, all right? And then for me, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit of garlic powder or garlic granules, and I'm gonna go around the crust like this, just like this, get a little bit of a garlicness on the crust right here. I think it adds so much to the pizza. And then we have 2 more things. For me, I'm going with the crushed red pepper and I'm going with the oregano, and I'm gonna sprinkle it on top, and then we are gonna finish it off. But for now, this is gonna be it. Let's go ahead and try it together. Okay, so since I do not have a pizza roller, I am gonna use a knife. So all you do is you take your knife, put it down, and then you're just gonna put pressure and you're gonna rock it back and forth, and then onto the next part, rock it back and forth. And if you have a big enough knife, it's going to go ahead and split right there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and go into half, be able to pull that off. There's half of that. So if you wanna rock big pieces, you can do this. If you wanna rock smaller pieces, we're gonna cut it again. Obviously, a pizza cutter is so much better. I'm gonna put that on my list to buy next. You know, I've been making pizza for quite a while now, so I think it's about time that we get ourselves a pizza cutter. And so the one thing I am gonna note here is if the crust underneath is a little bit gooey, what you can do is cut or roll the pizza into slices, and then you can put it back in the oven for a little bit. And there we have it, pizza all ready to go, each slice. So I'm gonna take this corner piece and I absolutely love crushed red pepper flakes on my pizza. I think it adds such a nice touch. And then I absolutely love oregano on my pizza as well. If you never try it, don't knock it till you try it, I'm telling you. And then, bon appetit. Here's going to be our pizza. Boom, man, this is gonna be hot. I'm probably gonna burn my mouth, but it's totally gonna be worth it because we're doing this together. All right, you guys ready? There's nothing as good as this crust. I'm telling you, this crust has a fantastic flavor. If you guys use these ingredients, I will not disappoint you in how I dress my pizza. But if you have other ingredients and you put on your pizza, drop in the comments and let me know what you put on your pizza and what's your favorite pizza. So that is gonna be gluten-free, virtually all organic, dairy-free if you want with the cheese. Look at that side as well. I need a moment, this is too good. Oh man, the flavors meld together, just the right touch of the vegetables, the green peppers, the onions, the mushrooms with a little juiciness. You have the delicious sauce, and then you get a little bit of the saltiness in there with the salami. This is my heaven right here. I love to make pizza. I always eat pizza out, and then I realize that I don't always feel the best, but I know when I make it here, I always feel the best. So, make the pizza, let me know how it is. So thank you guys for tuning in to Delicious and Nutritious, where we are going to change the world one healthy bite at a time. I'm gonna see you guys out on the next video. Peace.